Shit. I actually just I accidentally just went live. Okay. I can't hear you. Okay, tell me this, chat. Can you hear Aaron? I don't think it's okay. Well, never mind. He's gone. What's up, guys? What's going on? Welcome in. Brand new episode of Snaps. The boys are back. We missed you. I can see many people in the chat are already a bit angry with us. We took a week off. We were both in Disney. We did not get to link up in Disney, unfortunately. Could y'all hear Aaron just now? You need to let us know. We're going through some technical difficulties. We'll figure it out. What's up, Josh? What's up, Quinn? What's up, Turkey Slammer, William Anthony, Bo Molinari, Locke Hesse? Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. We got a good show planned for you today. Some top questions for SEC contenders. I got some thoughts on college kids getting exempt, their NIL exempt from income tax. It sounds a little dry, but I'll make it interesting. Trust me. Andrew Luck, new Stanford general manager. Eddie George, new head coach, new Dan Lanning deal. We got a lot to get to today. We're gonna run the gamut today. If you want to help the show, guys, and we got a brand new sponsor that we're going to be talking about, so we're very excited about that as well. Aaron, try to say something.
Hello.
Okay, I can hear you now. What the fuck is going on?
I'm on my phone now. That's why.
What? Why? What is going on with your computer?
It's a mic issue. I don't think it's a computer issue. I think it's a microphone issue. I don't know. We go on vacation and all hell breaks loose. What can I say?
Her name is Mika. Fucking A, Scott. Do you know that's from? Because you said it's a mic issue?
No.
Eurotrip. You ever seen Eurotrip?
Mm-mm. Your hair looks great, though.
I know. I just took my new hat off, and look at that, dude. It looks crazy. It's way too long. What's up? Okay, so this is how we're gonna do the show today. I don't know what's going on with Aaron's setup, but we're good to go. I don't like this angle. If you're watching, if you're listening on podcast, I apologize because you can't see it, but it just feels so odd. It's not at all what I'm used to. It's a lower angle. You look great. Marathon training's obviously fantastic. I saw you without a shirt before the show started, and you look ripped. Like,
I am ripped.
Considering you're deep in there we go. Okay, I like this better.
Are we better now?
Considering you're deep in marathon training, though, I thought you would be overly skinny right now, but like you have nice bulk to you.
Well, I'm still lifting. There we go. Are we back? Is this good?
This is way better. Honestly, yeah. I feel more comfortable. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it.
It did look like a virtual therapy session, especially because Aaron's office is so full of like mahogany and plaques and awards behind him. Well, I think we should have Patreon so we can chip in for a 2 Ups Warhammer addiction. We'll probably do eventually. I know we keep saying this. We'll probably do like a YouTube membership thing. We just need to come up with a schedule for like what you would actually get for beyond just sponsoring the show. What sort of special perks you would get, and what can we make work in our
shirtless shows
schedules? Yeah. I don't know if anybody wants to pay for that, but in a good comedic way, that is the fulfillment of our original Only Snaps idea, which would be great. So, Aaron, I was saying, chat's kind of giving it.
Speaking of Only Snaps, did you see? I'm drawing a blank on her name, but the girl that's like slept with thousands of guys on spring break.
Yeah, so I get the two confused, but there's a couple. There's Bonnie Blue and
yes, Bonnie Blue.
Now I think Bonnie might have done the 100. And I think Lillian Phillips did 1,000 in 12 hours.
Anyways, she was at spring break, and there's a picture going viral of her spitting, I believe it's probably liquor, into another man's mouth.
Yeah, I saw that.
Breaker. Yeah.
What? You're saying what? I mean, does brushing your teeth not exist? What? You think that's just like cum or something?
Would you do that? I don't know.
If I was single? Absolutely.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, dude. That's you. Okay.
I mean, what do you think? Do you think she's probably more meticulous about her body hygiene than anyone you know? Her entire business is her body.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing she's making all 1,000 men pass a STD test before.
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
same way, or I mean, I don't know for sure. I don't know. But
I
it's
would
the same
hope. I would
way
hope.
that the safest way to have sex with, like I always said this growing up, the safest way to have sex with as many people as possible is to do it in a professional pornography setting where people
True.
are being tested, and so you make sure they're clean and whatnot. So, like, yeah, you think she's just doing this and not brushing her teeth?
I hope
Not
not.
using
I hope
mouthwash? What are
not.
we
I
talking
hope
about?
not. I hope not.
Bonnie, you can't do it because I'm very happily married right now. But if I was single, I would let you spit liquor in my mouth. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
That's where me of all people, that's where I feel like I draw the line. But hey, to each their own. To each their own.
Yeah, but you're also, you're not as you're used to having your way more. You're not as desperate as a lot of the 1,000 guys that are probably lining up. I'm probably more representative of the masses here, a man of the people, versus you, who are basically like a billionaire oligarch, just used to getting your way, no matter what. Yeah, and look at this. La Hesse says the liquor sterilizes itself. Also true.
Very good point. Very good point.
Also,
God, I just feel bad for the thousands dude. And
um,
her. Who do you feel worse for? Her or the thousands dude?
I don't feel bad for anybody because I believe that everybody are consenting adults who agreed to do this. Would I want my daughter or my son to be in that number?
No.
I would hope
God.
not, certainly. But look, man, we're all just trying to fucking make it. Okay. Like we're all just trying to make it. Speaking of the oligarchs, as inflation rockets up everywhere around us, nobody's getting paid more. Everybody's getting paid. Like we're just trying to fucking survive out here.
Mhm.
And sometime, you know what? If that leads you down those paths, just I hope that everybody's mental and physical health stays well, and do your thing. Do your thing. They always say, Aaron, no matter what you do it to the best of your ability.
Damn right.
Okay.
Damn right. She better show us
Okay.
the same kind of energy to number 1,000 as she did to number 2.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's possible, but you can at least go for that. You can at least try that. Yeah, so the boys are back. Aaron, how was Disney? We did not get to meet up. Unfortunately, I did not have my normal Disney experience in. I was, normally I like to go like 12, 13-hour days every single day. But this trip around, I was having to leave the park at about 4:30 to go do the Rome show 6 to 7, meaning that only Saturday and Sunday did I get to go full day of the park into Epcot at night. But it sounds like you had your Epcot nights.
We had our Epcot nights, and I it's the first time of going in a group of people. What you said is 100% true. You cannot go with a group of people. After day one, it was like, you know what, Steffi, I love you. I love my niece and my nephew, but you guys do your thing. We're gonna do our thing. We'll see you at dinner. It was, especially with the fast passes, it's impossible. It is
It's
literally
impossible.
impossible. It's
Because you
impossible.
either have to have one person planning everybody's fast pass, which is
Yes.
impossible because this kid can't ride that ride, that kid can't
Yes.
ride this ride, this parent doesn't like to ride this ride, this parent's got
Too
mobility.
much.
Like it's
We had 9 adults
no
and 4
no.
kids.
Awful.
And Maddox is
It's
the only
like
one that could ride. And Maddox was the only one that could ride rides.
again, it's like I tried to tell you, traveling to Disney is a bit like modern military theory, where it's almost like the smaller the unit, the better. You're more mobile, more reactive, more efficient, more effective overall. So I was terribly sad to not get to meet up with you in Epcot. Every night you were there, I was at home working. I was disappointed. Would have loved to have Epcot beers, but okay, give me this. What was your favorite new thing that you did at Disney this time?
Favorite new thing, but the little man and I won the Star Wars Smuggler's Run, which was awesome.
What do you mean you won it?
No, we went on it. We were on
okay. Because you can get like a high score. I didn't know if you like unlocked like something.
No.
I've never done
we were
well
the
on
engineers in the back, and he was freaking
Yeah.
pumped. I thought he was gonna be a little
cool.
bit scared because it started going. I was like, oh. And he was loving it. I mean, pressing all the buttons, looking at me like, am I doing it right? I'm like, you're doing it, buddy. We're gonna get him. So love that. And then for like a me and him experience. And then we went to Animal Kingdom the last day for half day. Doing
Nice.
the Avatar ride was awesome.
It's so funny. My
Yep.
oldest, my 7-year-old, is a complete badass. She loves roller coasters. Guardians of the Galaxy is her favorite ride. She's ridden the Velocicoaster Universal. Like, she'll take down anything. The Avatar ride sent her into a
Oh.
straight existential crisis. She was asking my wife, she was looking at, because in the ride, they tell you you're turning into a Navi
Yep.
for a day. And so she got out the ride and she was literally looking at her hands, wondering if she was still human,
Oh, I
and
love
was
that. Good for her.
deeply, deeply unsettled. I mean, like could it
Did she actually
was,
enjoy the ride, or was she just
no,
unsettled
she
after?
fucking no, I'm not exaggerating. She had like a full-on anxiety attack. She was like, I don't know what this feeling is. I feel like it was like it was so fucking sad. All
Oh,
she wanted to do was get out of there. But I'm saying she can handle anything, but she thought she had gotten.
God, my little one, Miles, Trouble Rides is just so sad when she go, I don't like it. I don't like it. Dad. I don't like it. I'm like, I'm sorry, girl. We on it now. So you just gotta
Yeah.
close your eyes and snuggle in with daddy. We're gonna be fine. And Max
That
like,
was
Miles,
me.
you'll like it. Oh, we had a good time though. It
That
was a
was
good
me. I
time.
was terrified of roller coasters forever
Oh.
growing up, of every ride, really.
But then we get off of it. I was like, "Are you okay?" She goes, "I liked it." I was like, "You yelled for 4 minutes
Wow.
how you didn't like it." We get off like best part though. Best part. We had 2 hours in Epcot where they both napped in the stroller, and
Oh,
Sharon and I did
oh,
2 laps. Had
oh,
probably about 5 drinks each at 5 different countries, and
don't say it.
we had to wake them up because we had to leave for dinner. We had to wake them up, or they probably could have slept for another hour. By
See,
far the best part.
when you hit that flow, that
Oh,
perfect moment, it literally is a feeling unlike any other.
yeah. It said
Yeah,
Miles a little, so we told Max, like, if you take a nap, we will get you a stuffy before we leave the park. And he loves his
there you go.
stuffies. He already picked one out. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep. Miles is turned to a little shit. She's in the terrible two stage. I just hear Maddox in the double stroller crying, Miles, leave me alone. I'm trying to sleep. And then Miles is like, tickle, tickle, Maddox, tickle, tickle. And I was like, Miles, leave your brother alone. So we actually had to strap her into her side. And then she finally fell asleep. And then it was 2 hours of just Sharon and I drinking, rolling around, just absolute perfect.
Hell yeah, man. It's that, God, I know that feeling. It's impossible now to get all three to nap at the same time. But if I can get the younger two to nap, the
Yeah.
oldest one, she's cool to chill with. I had such a funny experience growing up with the rides though, because like I said, I was a very scared little kid. I was scared of everything, and this is embarrassing. But I think I was like 11, maybe even 12 years old, and I'm on the Batman at Six Flags because my dad has finally had enough. He's like, "You're getting forced on this fucking ride, nerd." And I'm sitting there, 11 years old. And as we're getting ready to take off, I am bawling, crying. I'm not talking about tears leaking. I'm talking about openly sobbing in my seat, begging my dad, don't let me fall out. Don't let me fall out. Like actually, like it's so embarrassing to think back on. But it was the most visceral experience of my entire life because the whole time we're doing the climb to the first drop, I'm getting increasingly terrified. And when I tell you, the second we dropped, it was like a switch flipped in my brain. I started laughing uproariously, like couldn't control myself, just like laughing, smiling ear to ear. And ever since then, I've loved all rides. So it can happen that quickly, parents. Like, just know, like it was one of the craziest, most like, enter the drop. It was like life changing. I entered drop here and I exited at the complete opposite end. It was awesome. And now I love
Great
it.
times.
My favorite new thing at
I love
Disney
them.
this time though was
Uh-oh.
the Biergarten, the German Biergarten in Germany. Have you ever been there before?
I have.
You went to the Biergarten.
I
Okay.
this back in 2018.
Okay, they have the dance floor, they have the buffet, the performances, the liters of beer. It was great. I had some excellent first time at Dunkel. I danced with the girls. I had the great overall. And I got this new drinking hat. So
it looked
now I can look German if ever I go. Even though I'm going to wear this to St. Patty's Day this weekend, and I'm going to hear so many people like, actually, that's a German hat. I'm going to say, hey, shut the fuck up. It's a drinking hat, okay? And I'm going to drink so much beer while wearing this kilt or this hat and a kilt this
And
weekend.
a kilt.
It's going to be incredible.
Oh, God.
Yeah, beer garden's great, though. If you want a little break, you get inside, all you can eat, dance floor with the kids. Very, very fun. I love it.
You look good. It looks good on you.
I mean, it looks fucking stupid.
No, you look good.
Love it.
No, it
I
really
love
does look
stupid
good
hats.
on you.
I mean, like, I guess as much as like a fedora can look good on a person, but also you're basically wearing a fucking fedora at the end of the day. It's really
God,
stupid.
you were not lying either. We'll get to football in a second. You were not lying either about of Baton Rouge and Louisianans and New Orleans people that were in Disney
I
this
told
week.
you, bro.
Oh my
How
God.
about Fat Tuesday? You saw
Everywhere I
the here?
looked was just like purple, 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 LSU shirt, LSU hat. I'm like, God damn, my fucking entire state's here.
I know. I got a lot of like, go Tigers, who dat? TBob was like, shout out. If I saw you at Disney, shout out, dude. It was a really good time meeting so many fun people. All right. Sorry. Look, if it sounds like we're doing a lot of catching up, we are doing a lot of catching up because we were gone. Chat's mad. You finally remembered you have the show. No, guys, we told you during the off season, we're moving to 2 shows a week. Okay. We're going to be Tuesday. We're going to be Thursday. And this was just a week off where we happened to both be going to Disney. So whatever, we took it off, but we are back and we're excited to announce before we get into the football here. We are excited to announce a brand new sponsorship here on Snaps. Really, in many ways, be the title sponsor here. Title sponsor, as we'll be talking about them for the next few months. And that is Snaps Clothing Company. Imagine that, guys. We call that brand synergy. Snaps the podcast, teaming up with Snaps Clothing. And I'll read you there about us. Our journey began with 2 friends who shared a love for live music, sports, authentic connections, like me and Aaron, and dressing well, unlike me. Disillusioned with their corporate careers, they came together over a few beers and decided to forge a new path. They envisioned a clothing line that honors their roots while looking forward into the future. And basically, it's all about reimagining the Pearl Snap, baby. Our shirts combine timeless style with modern functionality, premium fabric quality, perfect fit, and sustainable manufacturing practices that, like our stories around a campfire, leave the world a better place generations come. Look, Aaron has his Snap shirt on. I'm a dumbass, and I forgot mine. But you'll see us in the gear. And I got to say, I do like it. It's very comfortable. I wear it to church.
Sharon loves when I just.
Yeah, and it's a Pearl Snap. So you literally can just rip it down the middle.
Just rip it down
Why don't you give us a little rip for the first ad read here? Oh, yeah. God, look at that chest. That's a man right there, guys. It's a man.
They need to put me on these damn advertising in there. Screw that little skinny bitch in there.
I don't know. These bros are too little. These bros are pretty good looking right here, though, to be honest. But look, guys, here's some selection. Look, the bottom line is support those who support us. Get some cool shit along the way. We'll have your promo code coming up in the future, whatnot. But shout out to Snaps Clothing Company sponsoring this Snaps College Football podcast. All right. Fuck, John Glasgow calls us a Bear Bryant hat. Don't make me hate this hat, okay? It's the only thing keeping me from losing my mind lately.
I don't think you had the feather. You're good. Get a little feather on the side.
Well, this is some feather, but my stupid son took the main feather. It doesn't matter. All right, let's get into today's show. Aaron, well, actually, I'll say that for the end. Let's get into the top questions for SEC contenders. And if you're in the chat and you think we're leaving anybody off the list, leaving any questions off the list, let us know and we'll get it. Let's start with your Georgia Bulldogs. You have the main question here that as far as concerning Georgia, will Georgia finally have weapons? I would say, does Georgia even have a quarterback?
Yeah.
Like yes, do they have weapons? But first and foremost, does Georgia have a quarterback?
I agree that we've hit on the quarterback piece. So I was going to kind of flip it around a little bit.
Okay.
I think all eyes. So initially today we were thinking about the show. It was going to be like, okay, what were the big quarterback battles heading into spring ball for SEC teams? But there's only a handful of them, and maybe we'll do a show or a segment at some point dealing with that. But Georgia is the big question mark is who's going to be the quarterback. That is the most important position. Carson Beck leaves. You have two guys that have one has played very limited amount. Another guy was essentially out all last spring in Ryan Puglisi, who now is going to get his real first opportunity to compete this spring without really playing at all. Spring, fall, doing nothing. So I know a lot of
Wait,
people are excited
why
about
didn't
him.
he play? Why didn't he play at all? Was he hurt?
He was a little bit banged up in spring. I think he had a knee issue that kept
Okay.
him out. Yeah. So really, he came in and as a mid-year guy, and talking with some people in the program, had a terrific bowl practice as they got ready for FSU. I mean, was just diming up the first team defense, like turning heads. Like, who the fuck is this kid? Like, he's supposed to be in high school and he's out here going against this defense,
And this
just
is the
making them
guy
look
that
silly.
replaced Raiola, right? After
This
Raiola
is
left
the
Georgia.
well, no, they were both committed together.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
He's the one who I believe Raiola was committed. He said, fuck that. I don't care. I'm still going to commit to
Okay.
Georgia.
Kind of a big dick move there. I'm into
Yes.
that.
Yes.
That's a good character sign. That's a green flag.
So yes, of course, the big question is going to be who's going to be QB1. I anticipate it. I anticipate both guys to get a shot, no doubt about it. Both guys will. But for me, I think both guys have talent. I think both are green. Are they good enough to win a championship? I think both have plenty of talent to do that. They just need the experience. I need to see some playmakers take pressure off the quarterback. That's why I lean more to the tight ends who were young last year that took over for Brock Bowers, kind of up and down.
Oscar.
Lost and Lucky, I believe Oscar Delp, Lost and Lucky, I believe in both those guys. You go in the portal, get some receivers as well. Can that unit between receivers and tight ends be better this year? It has been years since they've had consistency at that spot.
What about running back?
I think they got a stable of running backs. I think they'll be fine. I would
Okay.
lean more towards receivers, tight ends got to be better.
Is that Stanford tight end gone?
Yes.
Okay. Because yeah, he was a bit of a disappointment last year, given some of the preseason hype surrounding him. Well, I mean, look, Aaron, I got to be honest. Again, I don't know what to make of Georgia next year beyond. I know the floor is very high, right? Of
Yeah.
course, I don't believe the wheels are going to come off. Like I would say, like just blind resume, not looking at my cards, like a 10-2 would feel like the floor for Georgia, just because that's the level that
Do
they've
you feel
attained.
do you feel less confident because of what happened this past year of I felt heading into last season there was a sense of Georgia's the big dogs, Kirby's the
Yeah,
big dog, the sense of invincibility, almost like that Alabama feel with Saban, and I feel like now that has been stripped away, where I don't
yes.
view Georgia as like this team that's just going to roll through everyone. And I don't know if there's a team out there that I do feel like that about. But I did feel that way about Georgia a year ago. I do not feel like that heading into this season. I think there's a lot of questions, and a lot of those questions we ignored a year ago, they showed up. Why should I feel good about them heading into this season?
So I think I agree with almost everything you just said, and that's kind of where like where my setup was going is like I know Georgia's going to have an incredibly high floor. They're going to have NFL guys all over the defense. You know, they'll be really big on the O line, whatever. Like they'll be good. Like I said, probably like 10-2 floor. But I also don't see them winning a championship. There's way too many questions offensively, or at least I don't see them as the prohibitive favorite.
No.
When you look across, and again, maybe to your point, there's not one, but like, yeah, some of the mystique of Georgia has been stripped away, certainly. And maybe the only way to dispel that would be for Puglisi or Gunnar Stockton to come in and show some offensive excitement
Yeah.
and show that, oh wait, no, they actually have like you said, like maybe that actually is the biggest question, the weapons and as they pertain to the quarterback. Because if you get into who does Georgia open with? Let's see here.
Georgia opens with Marshall, Austin
Marshall.
P, and then at Tennessee. So whoever the quarterback
Okay.
is going to get a nice 2 weeks to get warmed up. The defense
Yeah.
is going to be a top five defense. The defense under Kirby will always be very talented. Will it be as good as it was back in 2021 and 2022? I don't know if those heights will ever be reached, especially in today's era of college football. But will they still be giving up around 20 points per game, top 5 in most categories. Yes, I'm not worried about that side of football.
Yeah.
Being good enough to win a championship. I am concerned about the offense, the playmakers being good enough to be able to take some pressure off a young quarterback.
Now, I will say this, like you said, 2 games to warm up, then you got to go to Tennessee, then home against Alabama. So if you want to talk about, though, convincing people, if you make it through those first 4 games, you're undefeated and the offense looks good while doing so, well, then all of a sudden I believe that Georgia would probably be considered to be the prohibitive favorite, maybe outside of like an Ohio State, depending on how they look.
Yeah, but
So
they got a lot of question marks too. I think like that's a weird thing about this year in
there
general.
seems
Is
to
like
be a lot of hype around saying, though. And you
I
got
think there's a
Jeremiah Smith.
ton
There's no
of stuff
question
I'll say.
marks on Jeremiah Smith. Like there's no question marks on
Yeah.
Ohio State weapons.
Yeah, but you're still talking about a first year quarterback. So
Yeah.
I've heard the same hype that you have from Ohio State people and the excitement about him, but he's still never started a football game before. So
Not even in
it's
high school?
never, not one time. They made sure that he came at least 2 possessions into the game.
Okay, so you mentioned the mystique being stripped away, and I'm going to jump down to the bottom of our list with Alabama. And you said the top question for Alabama, will this offense resemble Washington's of 2 years ago? And it's a salient question because that was the biggest disappointment of last season, right? I spent all of last season gassing up Kalen DeBoer being this quarterback whisperer, this offensive mastermind, and how Jalen Milroe, who had already shown so much potential, was going to take this massive step forward. And none of it was on display. In fact, Milroe seemed to regress in many ways as the season went on, and kind of culminating in the nadir of the Oklahoma game. And so certainly the Kalen DeBoer mystique has taken a hit, but you get Ryan Grubb back.
Yes.
So if you don't know, Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb, partners in crime at pretty much everywhere.
Everywhere, I want to say.
Certainly Washington. I think I'm missing one spot, but like a guy who Kalen DeBoer has taken pay cuts in the past to pay Ryan Grubb more to keep him there. Like they are bros.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be back working together. So the offense should get better in that regard. But again, who's the quarterback? And was Jalen Milroe, who is already the best quarterback on the roster with the same guys who are there now, are they just suddenly going to be much better than Jalen Milroe? Like I'm sure Alabama fans would say yes, because they'll say, well, Milroe was limited here. This is when Ty Simpson finally takes a step forward or blah, blah. I just don't know.
Well, yes, it's a big unknown. And we cliche to say this, but all great coaches adjust to their players. And you saw some adjustment last year with Jalen, especially in the red zone. There's a lot more quarterback run. There's a lot more get him on the perimeter, use his speed. Me, just like you, very disappointed with the production throwing the football. I thought there would be a far greater jump for a guy that's played a lot of football, a guy that's now with someone like Kalen DeBoer, that you were going to see a lot of the fundamental work improve. And I documented this early in the season before I had to stop doing the quarterback breakdowns. The fundamentals did not get better. Like that was the astonishing thing to me. The fundamentals didn't even get better to allow him to be a more competent quarterback. So you have a guy that is perceived to be a better passer in Ty Simpson, if he's going to be the leader right now heading into spring ball and probably going to be the starting of the season, a better passer with a second-year receiver in Ryan Williams, with an OC that works better with Kalen DeBoer. Can it be better? I think it can, because I didn't think it was that special a year ago. There was moments when it was really good, but there's a lot of moments when it was really bad too. I mean, the offense was electric the first half versus Georgia, but there's a lot of damn games where that offense was piss poor.
And guess what? Ty Simpson sat behind Jalen Milroe for 2 years. So why are you telling me, what is it? Just Mike? He's just Michael Penix.
But what I'm saying,
no,
I'm not saying.
No, I get no. I'm
saying from
sorry.
an offensive schematic standpoint,
yes,
you can do everything you want to do to tailor your offense to your players. But at the end of the day, as a coach, you like to call plays a certain way and you like to scheme a certain way. And it's more comfortable to do that week in and week out with a guy that fits your system better. So maybe that, I'm not saying this is the magic wham, Alabama's going to be a top offense. I'm just saying this, if there was a silver lining hopeful scenario, that would be the case.
And I don't disagree. That's a silver lining hopeful scenario. What I'm saying is I'm pressing X to doubt.
Yeah, I would lean more to that too.
I am not buying it. Ty Simpson sat behind Jalen Milroe for 2 years under multiple coaching staffs. If he was better, he would have beaten him out. If
is that not the same conversation we've had with Texas too about Arch?
No, because I think Quinn Ewers was better than Jalen Milroe.
They're going to get drafted probably very like 4 or 5 in the NFL draft.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Maybe
and that's why that when we do get to Texas, that's obviously
aren't Milroe and Simpson the same age though, or is Simpson maybe a year younger than him? Because that would maybe
they're a lot closer than what Ewers.
Like because Arch went into the Texas situation knowing he was going to learn behind Ewers, but your logic your point stands. Like it's a good point made by you. But look, all I'm saying is I doubt that whole idea that suddenly Ty Simpson's going to unlock something and be such a magical fit, because why Ken DeBoer had no loyalty to Jalen Milroe. If he thought Ty Simpson throwing the ball more was the best option for that Alabama team last year, he would have done it. Nick Saban tried to do Ty Simpson over Jalen Milroe, ended up going back to Milroe.
But it does go back a little bit to what we just talked about with Georgia as well. Alabama had Ryan Williams. That was really it. I know there's Bernard was there and he had some moments here and there, but like at the end of the day, it was Ryan Williams. So you did have one more elite guy than say what Georgia had, who was struggling just to get anyone to play consistently. But there was no consistency on the outside. So I think as a coach, you do look at Jalen and say, you know what, maybe Ty is a better fit for my system. Maybe I would want to play Ty, but if I don't have playmakers around him to go out there and play in this offense. I mean, when was Washington great? Washington was great when they had Penix, who's a top caliber NFL quarterback with multiple elite receivers. Alabama has had multiple elite receivers in about 4 years. So I think they got to go hand in hand with why maybe there was a lean towards, hey, at least we know Jalen Milroe is the best athlete on the field, and he can go out there and make plays.
So then the question becomes, well, is that different, right? Like you said, like who do you have besides Ryan Williams? I'm sure you have some new great recruits and whatnot. Can they be what Ryan Williams does? We'll see. I guess Keelan Russell is also the wild card here. Does he become like a freshman phenom? I mean, that's never something that I'll ever predict to happen. But again, that is the wild card element. Beast Move says Mac Jones set too. But again, the key difference there is he set behind Heisman winners and like first overall picks. The guy that you're championing now set behind a guy who you all hate and think sucks. So what does it mean for him? The last thing I'll say on Alabama is it is actually shocking to me. You talked about mystique, and that's why I wanted to jump to Bama, because it is actually shocking to me how quickly the mystique of Alabama has been stripped away. Now it's a small sample size. And so this is Ken DeBoer's last opportunity. If he can get Bama back to being Bama, let's say like 11-1 SEC champ, so like something like that, right? Then it's all good. Then year one was year one, whatever, you move on. But like, I just don't. I first off, I don't see it, and it just doesn't have the fear anymore.
So it was Bama for a long time. I'm thinking just over the past 2 decades. Bama was the bad boy. Clemson kind of had moments where they were rolling. I mean, Dabo had elite quarterback play, he had elite receiver play.
Don't look now. He's back.
I know he's back. We'll have to do maybe Thursday show on that. Clemson was feared. And then all of a sudden, Georgia got into the mix, and Georgia had their few years where it seemed like Georgia was like the feared one. Kind of a similar timeline to Clemson, not as long as Alabama, but there's that moment of time. And now as we roll into this new iteration of college football, and I'm looking around, I'm like, I don't know who that team is that everyone circles like as the fear factor. Yeah. Is it Ohio State? Is it Georgia still? I don't think it's Alabama. I don't think it's Clemson. Is it Texas? I can't point to a team right now and be like, that's the one everyone's gunning for. Because Ohio State, while they're the national champion, had some blemishes on their resume a year ago. And they can't beat their biggest rival in Michigan.
But
so are they truly that scary?
The Natty does kind of overcome the blemishes. And I think they are that scary because
are they just a national championship or are they
No, again, this is recency bias, certainly. But I would say Ohio State is scary, though, because the resources they're pulling from. a massive
But so does
popular
Texas.
state with
So
a
does
huge,
Texas.
but they haven't won the championship, and they almost lost to Arizona State in the playoffs. Ohio State was locked in the. So again, you got to do it over a larger sample size. But you ask the question who's closest. I think the answer is Ohio State. But I think the larger point is your original one, which is there's nobody. There's not a Nick Saban. There is
No.
nobody that is so clearly number one with a bullet better than anybody else. And then it becomes a question of, can you even be that in the modern era? I don't know. Only time will tell.
Yeah.
Like Nick Saban was senior. He was Bear Bryant reincarnated. How long did you go between Bear Bryant and Nick Saban? Because you had great coaches in between.
Pete Carroll at USC. I mean, you had plenty of great coaches in between.
But nobody do it as long as Bear did, and nobody do it as long as Nick Saban did.
No.
So do we have like 20 years where we don't have that before a new king rises, or can anybody rise in this new setting? We'll have to see. But yeah, for Alabama, my questions, I don't know. I mean,
there's a lot.
Yeah, certainly. Can you get the offense back to being what you thought you were getting when you got Kalen DeBoer? For the Texas Longhorns, do you believe in the Arch hype? And Aaron, this is a drum that you've been consistently banging. So shout out to that SEC podcast with our friends, Cousin Shane and SEC Mike, good friends of the show. We still got to do our crossover pod eventually.
We do.
But I can't remember his name, but they had a man on the other day who has covered Texas in depth for years and years. He's also a leader in, I think, like the podcast ad space, getting stuff sold and whatnot. But my point is, this is a guy who's locked into Texas behind the scenes, knows the numbers.
Yep.
They asked him how much Texas put into last year's roster. He said north of 25 million. North of 25 million. And guess what? Those numbers aren't going down, guys.
No.
You're not going to put less in as everybody else is paying more, and everybody's emptying their nut before revenue sharing. So
what do you think that roster is going to be this year, including the revenue sharing? Like $40 million roster? $40 million?
If you're saying, I think they'll probably put 20 on top of the 20 that the school does. So it'll probably come into the 35 to 40 range, if I had to guess. And so the question about Arch is an accurate one, because it's almost exactly, even though, well, it's not exactly the same, because I think Texas is replacing a lot of guys. But like last year, it was all about with Ohio State, okay, you're complete everywhere, but can Will Howard be the guy? I feel like what we've seen out of Texas the last 2 years, they'll probably be complete everywhere, and it's just going to be, can Arch be the guy?
Well, that was the problem last year. Will Howard ended up being the guy. I thought he had a great year. He had one bad game against Michigan. Other than that, he was terrific. They lost early in the season to Oregon. I thought he played a really good game in that game. And then in the playoffs, he was electric. He was as good as you needed to be on a roster like that to go win a championship. The only other roster that could match Ohio State money for money and player for player was Texas.
Yeah.
The big difference was Ewers did not show up the same way Will Howard did.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same thing this year. There's still a difference in rosters across college football. Like, we can say all we want, that the transfer portal has evened things out and the money's going to even things out. There's still the elites that have more than everyone else. Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, to name a few of them, especially Texas and Ohio State. They got more money. They got more players. But it still comes down to key positions. Can Arch be the guy? And I still don't know. I'm not going to sit here right now on March 11th and say that he deserves to be the number one contender to win the Heisman. He's going to be the number one pick in the NFL draft. I did not personally see enough of that last year in limited playing time to think the hype should be as high as it is right now. Did I see a good quarterback? Did I see a quarterback that can continue to grow? I saw that, yes. But I did not see a Trevor Lawrence. I didn't see that type of player last year where it's like bona fide first round pick, number one pick in the NFL draft type of quarterback. I didn't see that.
So do you see a favorite in the SEC then?
Quarterback wise, or are you talking about player wise?
No. Team.
But you go to quarterback wise, I think he's like maybe fifth in quarterback rankings in the SEC.
Okay, give me your quarterbacks over Arch then.
I would say quarterbacks over Arch heading into next season. I would
You're
say
probably going to
number
say DJ Lagway will be
DJ
somewhere on
Lagway
there.
would be my number one. You go to South Carolina and Lenora Sellers. Very
Now
excited about
that's a bit
Lenore's.
interesting because you don't think that Arch has been somewhat similar to Lenoris or DJ Lagway and when he's gotten to play compared to
No,
how they started. I
I
mean, because in
think
their first
I will
action,
die with this.
maybe not DJ.
DJ Lagway, talent wise, is significantly better than Arch Manning.
Okay. And to be fair, DJ hit the ground running and was great from the beginning.
Yes.
But Lenoris had a learning curve, right?
Yeah.
Like you were completely out of it. So in that
But,
same way, I'm saying we've seen
Lenore's also had no talent around him. You want to talk about no talent at
that's true.
all? They had
That's
Rocket at running back, but they have no receivers. They ended up emerging a great tight end who's kind of his go-to guys. But that's the one thing that will hold South Carolina back is can they get talent around Lenore's because Lenore's was a one-man band half the time. But
okay. So you got Lagway, Lenoris. What about Nuss?
I think Nuss will have a better season
Okay.
overall.
What about
Uh,
Nico Iamaleava?
That's a wild card for me because I still think Nico's super talented. I think Nico has opportunity. I think there's the question mark of talent around him again because they lost a lot of guys in the portal. So I think that may hinder him. So I think Arch is somewhere around that 4 to 5 mark. That's kind of where I have him. And I think a lot depends on how good Nico is.
And so you have 4 quarterbacks ahead of him right now. That would place Arch in 5th. Is there anybody else?
Potential
Mateer, good call by B.
Mateer could be.
Mateer.
I think Taylor Green has a lot of talent. I think he's still raw as a
Oh, you
thrower, but I
can't
think
go Green over Arch, dude. He makes
no,
way too many
he
mistakes.
does
There's
make a
no
lot
way.
of mistakes.
You're going too hard in the Arch paint. If you're
I
going
think there's
Taylor.
a quarter. You want to talk about talent wise? That's a quarterback that's had a lot of talent that played limited reps last year, like Arch, is Austin Simmons at Ole Miss.
Yeah, true. I mean, the drive that he had against Georgia probably,
And
if
then
you're a Georgia fan, you definitely
talking
remember
with
it.
Lane last year, you're like, I mean, Lane is like, this is maybe the most talented quarterback I've had, and he's had some pretty damn good quarterbacks.
What about
They
Diego
talk about
Pavia?
they talk they talk
Yeah,
about
I agree.
Austin Simmons the same way Ohio State's talking about their quarterback.
About Julian Edelman?
That's the type of excitement that Ole Miss has.
So say it then for the social media clip. Aaron Murray believes that Arch Manning is the 7th best quarterback in the SEC going into 2025.
I would say fourth or fifth, but not far off.
You
The
can't say
potential to be
4th or
seven.
5th after you just named 6 guys that you said might be
I'm just
better
saying,
than it.
there's other guys that I would say like the hype should be very similar because none of them have played significant playing time.
Okay, I see what you're saying. That's a good point.
I think there's like a group of them that are kind of in that 4 to 7 range that haven't played enough to really separate themselves. Have all shown potential, but I can't tell you that one is significantly better than the other.
DJ Lagway is the scary one.
I think DJ's freaking
for
freakish.
Sure. Andrew Cooper says, didn't Nico beat Lagway? Tennessee beat Florida. Did Lagway? I'm trying to remember. I can't remember all. Yeah, Tennessee won 23-17. No, Graham Mertz played in that game, not
Did
DJ
he?
Lagway. Yeah, and Nico went
Yeah.
16-26, 169
Well,
yards.
both played.
Yeah,
DJ
but
did play too,
exactly. But I'm saying it
yeah.
wasn't a DJ full game.
No.
Your guy Graham Mertz with a solid Graham Mertz stat line: 11 of 15, 125, 1 tud. Hyper efficient.
That might have been the game that he got hurt.
Lagway actually had an interesting day. You could tell that he was still maybe growing a bit here. 9 of 17, 98 yards, 1 tud, 1 pick. The point is, Lagway is someone who just ascended further and further and further as the season went on. And so, whereas Nico kind of leveled off and it just became like a game management situation. Yeah. Nuss had that great start, awful middle, kind of then finished strong, found himself back again at the end. Arch, when we saw him, was okay. Who else played last year? Oh, again, Lenoris, pretty consistent climb there.
Yeah. I mean, so Lenoris was the big. I would say Lenoris and DJ. Why I'm excited about them. They are the biggest climbers for 2 young quarterbacks. To see their growth throughout the year, you're like, damn. Now all of a sudden they're the guy. Like it's. I still think Florida's possibly more talent around him. I'm telling you, South Carolina's talent around him was just god awful a year ago.
Ooh, shout out to Heather Higginbottom, who knows ball better than us. Says Lagway threw a pick 6 in that game, and they ended up losing by 6. So fuck your take, Aaron. DJ Lagway's why they lost to Nico. How could you possibly say Lagway's better than Nico?
Jeez.
Unbelievable. All right. Finally, LSU, SEC contender. You put them on the list?
I think so.
Okay. And you have, as the biggest question, how big of a jump for this LSU defense? And I would say that is very accurate in that you've put a ton of resources into this defense. So you did lose Bo Davis recently. We didn't talk about that. The D-line coach you're paying $1.5 million to the Saints ended up taking him. He goes to the NFL. Why wouldn't you want to go to the NFL right now?
Yeah.
But you get Kyle Williams, LSU legend, great. I guess it's not officially official, but great NFL guy. But yeah, man, look, you paid Blake Baker $2.5 million a year. You brought back all the old coaches. You've gotten a ton out of the portal. That defense. I mean, what do you think their goals should be outside looking in? Because I don't think you're going to achieve the rank of LSU defenses in the past.
Why not?
But what do you need to be? Top 25? Because I don't see the dogs up front to get back to being like a top 10 defense in the entire country.
But
I think you're better.
There was progression from 2 years ago to last year. I think as long as you keep moving in that direction, once again, I think the offense will be good enough where you don't have to be elite. You don't have to be top 25. I think you have to be top 40, flirting with like top 35. I think if LSU's flirting with that, what were the year they won that? What were they the year they won the national championship? Because they weren't great. They were good. And I'm not saying the offense is going to be anywhere as good as they were that year, but that's kind of the type of defense that if you want to be a contender, I think that they can play that type of football defensively, be ultra competitive with a veteran quarterback on the offense side of the football with plenty of weapons and still have an opportunity to win the SEC.
So in conference games in 2019, the LSU defense ranked 7th, 23.8 points per game. If you were to look at total defense, so from a yardage perspective, they would have been 8th in the SEC. So to your point, middling, but I bet you if I look at turnovers that they probably did very well there. Yeah, they were 2nd in the conference in turnover margin. So I guess you got tied for the league lead with 17 picks. So you want to be, you want to create mistakes, be okay, and let the offense do the heavy lifting. Really, so your point is that the offense should be really good, and so maybe you don't need the defense to be that good, which is true. But that's where my biggest question with LSU is actually the offensive line, because you're replacing everybody. Now, you looked very good in the bowl game, and you brought in transfers, which should help as well. But ultimately, this may be a team whose ceiling will be decided by that O-line. And the other thing is, I don't think LSU's beating Clemson. I don't think so. I think they're starting in an 0-1 hole.
Yeah, they're used to it, though. They're used to it. But damn.
And what's happened every time?
Yeah, they're always
fucking ends up being the difference in the season.
Yeah.
So I think they start 0-1 again, and I think they're kind of behind the 8 ball. Now in a 12-team playoff, the path to getting back in and maybe going to like an Ohio State finish is much easier, but I think you're going to have another LSU team basically dealing with a very low margin of error for the entirety of the year.
God, what is their schedule after that?
Migrating coconuts. LSU just needs a historic offense, a middle road defense. Check. Yeah, no, I mean, I guess look, of course, you're not going to be the 2019 offense, but what you need is, because they will be an elite offense. I do believe. So the defense, I need a top 25 defense. You put so much fucking money into it. I need a top 25 defense.
Damn. That's what I would say. If they're a top 25 defense, they can contend to win a championship 100%. I think they can contend in the top 40. I think top 25, you're talking about a bona fide 100% playoff team. If LSU is a top 25 defense, they will be in the playoffs. No doubt about it.
Let me see. What if we look at, I want to look at, I wish you could almost filter out the group of 5 teams, but I don't think you can do that yet on CFP stats. But like, if you look at the top 25 defenses from last year, it's Ohio State, Ole Miss, Texas, Army, Notre Dame, Indiana, Tennessee, Penn State, Minnesota, Alabama, Iowa, South Carolina, Ohio, North Illinois, Miami of Ohio, Oregon, Nebraska, BYU. Yeah, so like if LSU wants to be an actual contender, they need to be a top 25.
Where's Georgia in that?
This is just scoring, but Georgia's 23rd.
Okay.
20.6 points per game.
Okay.
Darren, first time listening in. Darren, what's up, brother? Welcome to the crew. This is Snaps. I don't even think we made a dick joke yet today. Look at us, Darren. You're getting a real sports talky show here.
I don't know. Did you not hear the first 15 minutes of our comp show today?
I forgot we opened with Lillian Phillips and Bonnie Blue. I stand corrected. Lillian's pregnant, by the way. Congratulations.
Who's the dad?
That's not for me to know. You know, I'm happy for her.
Oh,
There's a wonderful glow about her.
Oh, you know what I need to find out? I need to figure out, which I'm sure is very easy to do those little chapters on our shows. So if anyone doesn't want to listen to us talk about Bonnie for 15 minutes in Disney, they can just skip to the football talk.
Well, honestly, we should be probably more strict about opening with the football talk and then talking about other shit afterwards. But it's tough, man, because me and you get along. We haven't seen each other. I just want to catch up. Also, it's our fucking show, you know? Like, you work in produced television. I work in traditional radio. I'm now doing the Rome thing as well. Congrats to me, not to brag, guys. And everything we do, there always has to be such like strategy behind it. Like, I talked to someone who wanted to buy this podcast, and they're like, well, there can't be cursing, and it needs to be 30 minutes long on the dot, and we have all these analytics as to why. And it's like, okay, I get it. Like, we are fucking murdering our algorithm by cursing. There's a reason why every major channel automatically AIs the curse words out.
Yes.
Like, so I guess it becomes a question of, what is our actual goal here? Are we trying to min-max and make this show the most financially successful show it can be? Or are we doing it because it's fun, we love it, and it's kind of our little weird community that we've created? And I find more and more, I just find more and more that it's kind of the latter for me. And maybe that's why we go into like the YouTube membership routes and whatnot. Like, I love having Snaps aboard and others who want to rock with us and be with us. But like, I don't know. And the chapter thing I want to do, because that's just good for listeners. I feel you. But like, do I want to stop 10 minutes of catching up and rambling at the beginning of the show? I don't think so. And I don't think our community, our wonderful people that hang out with us every day really do. So I say, fuck it. And we just let it ride, and we make, because like, Aaron, tell me this. Do you genuinely look forward to doing this show?
I do.
I do too. Like, I have fun with it. Like, even we're getting pressure from our agents and stuff to be like, give us these numbers. We need to sell it. And it's like, okay, I get it. But like, it's just kind of our thing. Like, I'll give you, like, get whatever you want, but like, I don't kind of give a fuck. This is one of the only things that I just like truly love doing it because I love doing it. Oh, yeah. Yes. Like, I genuinely love it. I mean, again, I'm not saying that we don't strive to be better or anything. But that's just kind of where my head's at. And I've been thinking about it a lot lately.
But with that, I will add some timestamps if I figure out how to do it. That'll be my mission today, tomorrow.
You ain't doing that unless there's an AI program that can somehow just do it. That's a lot.
No, it isn't. It is not. I guarantee you it's super easy to do.
How so?
It's probably 10 minutes of work.
You think it's 10 minutes of work to know when we're switching topics?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Yes.
What would you call this chapter? Do you put a bookmark in for the random Lillian pregnancy announcement that we had thrown in the middle there? Or is
I'm going to try and clump it into like bullshit football talk initially, and then I'll get more descriptive.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're not going to separate. Yeah. Okay. That
I may eventually get to that point. I need, like, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to have a little notepad by me, like, okay, this minute we start talking about Alabama. But I think it should be like bullshit. Hey, for people that are joining on, if you want to listen to football, it's in this chunk. This is the football chunk. It starts from 15 to 45. And then on the outsides of the sandwich are the bullshit.
Okay, that makes sense. That's not bad. Yeah. Yes. You know what I fucking hate?
What do you hate?
And here, let me go ahead and deep dick this algorithm. Hey, legislators proposing that college athletes' income is exempt, NIL income. Have you seen these laws that are being proposed?
Oh,
Georgia's in the mix.
It's been like a month ago.
Illinois' in the mix. Louisiana's in the mix. I know. I don't think we talked about it here, though.
I know.
But there's a bunch of legislation at the various state legislatures that is proposing that athletes' NIL earnings should be exempt from income tax. And I get it, right? Because they're saying, well, it's a competitive advantage for places like Texas and Florida that they don't have it. And so, $1 million deal here is $200,000 more dollars than $1 million here deal. And so I get all that. But you know what? Everybody's going to have a line. And I think that's mine. So this is what I say to those legislators and to those college athletes: suck my fucking dick. Okay. That's how I feel about it. Like, honestly, in my heart, if I'm out here fucking grinding my ass off, and I'm not even doing hard shit, you're going to tell the shift workers who are in the plant pulling 12-hour turnarounds, fucking oil rig men, you're going to tell them, the fucking college athlete who already has a scholarship, everything, doesn't pay for shit to begin with, free food, all that also his income's not getting taxed?
Preach.
Fuck you. Fuck you. It's so disconnected from reality. It fucking infuriates me.
It is. I think that's the biggest thing. These kids are living in fantasy world, and you and I are all for them getting paid. There's no doubt about it. We want college football players and college athletes, all college athletes, to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness. But when we start to create a world, which is a fantasy world for them, transfer whenever you want, leave when you want, sit out games whenever you want, don't pay taxes, you create this unrealistic world that doesn't benefit them in the long run. And then, to your point, is a big middle finger to everyone else in that community, in that state, who has to work their asses off and then still pay taxes.
Yeah.
That are making 1/20th of what they're making.
That's what I'm saying. What do you say to the fucking grinder who's making 60 to 80K or a teacher? Like, what did how fucked are teachers nowadays? What do teachers get? Like 40K?
Yeah.
And they're paying income tax on that? And yet this kid who gets everything for free anyway doesn't have to pay income tax on the $2 million that he get. And look, there's a devil's advocate argument out here that success on the court or field, that a rising tide raises all ships. And this is true. I've talked about this a ton. Go look at the city of Tuscaloosa in 2007 when Nick Saban got there versus looking at it now. Okay. It's literal, the spoils of war. You can see it. Buildings, investments, economic opportunity, like all this sort of stuff. And so the argument becomes, well, look, you're not actually losing that much in state income tax. Like, it's not even a drop in the bucket. It is literally infinitesimal. And I agree with that. And so you're like, okay, well, so why wouldn't we just give that up then? If like, we're not actually getting any money that matters to say from these players, why not give that up in an effort to be as good as you can on the field or on the court? And by extension, you win, you make the tournament application, and you get all of those economic benefits. But what I say to that is, first, just because you're giving these kids these breaks doesn't mean you're going to be fucking good. Look at FSU.
True.
2-13, right? I mean, whatever. So just because you're giving these breaks doesn't mean you're going to be good. And secondly, I don't give a fuck. It's the principle of the matter.
It's the principle.
I can't have the constituents, the good residents, the citizens of this state grinding their dick off and giving money to the government and these kids not doing it. Get the fuck out of here.
I agree. Has it passed anywhere? I know that it's been talked about.
It seems
I know there's
like
been some momentum, but I haven't heard 100% if it's been passed yet.
It seems like Georgia had a lot of momentum behind it. I don't know if it did there.
I had tons of buddies text me like, "This is awesome. We love it."
What?
Like, yeah.
Fucking cucks. Fucking what? Who said it was awesome? See, that's where I found this to be interesting. Is this is the first one of these rules that I have found that
to just go too far,
that the people have really bounced off of. Like, sure, you want to give high school kids NIL deals? Okay, yeah, hell yeah, dude.
I don't know. The majority of people that I've talked to in the state I mean, they're obviously massive Georgia fans. They love the idea. I think maybe it's coming off the back of a year where expectations were high and they weren't met. So it's like we need anything we can to get to back to advantage. Um, and I think there's certain
That's what I'm
states
saying.
too.
It does feel like Georgia maybe had the most when this, and it's funny because I'm sure the politicians proposing it in most states thought like, oh, like everything else with NIL, this is going to be bipartisan. People are going to be into it, blah, blah, blah.
But
And the reaction here was like, fuck that, dude.
and I know what you're going to say after this. Oh, poor Georgia. But I do think that there's a sense of Ohio State paid what they paid for a roster. Texas paid for what they paid for a roster. Yes, Georgia financially is way up there. I'm not saying that Georgia isn't, but it's not Texas. It's not Ohio State. And if we want to be the big dog still, we need some sort of advantage to keep up with them because we're not going to be able to pay $25 million on top of the cap for a roster. Georgia won't. Maybe they'll pay 15, maybe they'll pay 20. It ain't going to be 25, it ain't going to be 30. There's still a $5 to $10 million difference. Can we make up for it in other ways? But Texas doesn't have a state income tax, so they don't got to worry about it. So they get both.
Well, and therein lies the path to passing this because you're like,
Yeah.
well, look, they have an inherent advantage and we don't, and we got to keep up. I say, fuck that, dude. Fuck that. But whatever. Yeah, Andrew Cooper, the kid working in the bookstore pays tax, but not the football player. Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
But
well,
again,
the
free market
biggest
economic.
bitching for I mean the biggest bitching for a while was like, oh, the kid that's going to school that gets an academic scholarship can also go make money, but yet the
Yeah,
football player can't go make money. So
yeah, no, I mean, and I get it. Like, if you're just down for like free markets at all costs, you could say that, well, this is the direction that the invisible hand is guiding the market. That if you want to stay competitive in recruiting, that you have to pass this. I just don't believe, first off, that there's any proof of that yet. And I also, again, it principally just pisses me off. And it's just some real old man ranting.
yeah,
Texas still did lose twice to Georgia. Also.
this is very true. Very true. Very true.
Fuck him. All right, guys. We had a lot more to get to, but we ended up getting a little introspective and a little long.
Bonnie took too long.
Well, I mean, I did. Well, not really. Not if you're doing 1,000 and 12. I think that was Lillian. Or no, was that? I can't remember which.
Did each one get like a count? Like you get 10 minutes, or it's like you get to go to you nut, and then the next person gets to go to they nut. Like
I got to be
like
honest.
a minute. I haven't watched it, so I don't know.
I was going to say on the websites that I frequent, I have seen approximately thousands of thumbnails, but it's just not something I'm terribly interested in. No. So not even I, the most curious cuck cat out there, can give you an idea of exactly the rhythm of the situation. But it would feel like there would be a shot clock or something going on. Like there would need to be. And
I fucking hate a shot clock. Nothing stresses me out more than a shot clock.
Actually, and I believe in adult film it's called a pop clock. And you got to pop. Otherwise, you're kicked out of line and you go back to the back of the train. I have no idea. I have no idea how this works. Other things that we did today that I want to get to later in the week. Eddie George named Bowling Green head coach. That's interesting. How about this? Something to chew on, Aaron. Did you know that Andrew Luck is now the general manager at Stanford? So do you know why that story is interesting, though?
Because they have a lot of money.
Do you know? Well, yeah, that's fucking true. Do you know why his GM title is different than anybody else's in college football? Because in the organizational chart, he's actually above the head coach.
Oh,
it is the first of these setups that's like the NFL, where in the NFL it's like owner, then GM, then head coach. And in college football, the coaches have always been the kings. No, not at Stanford now. Like Andrew Luck technically has decision-making power over Troy Taylor.
Damn.
So I'm sure this is something that ADs would love to see become commonplace in the future. Head coaches do not. So it's just something to kind of eye going forward. Also, Dan Lanning got a new deal. You saw that?
Yep. 11 mil, north of 11 mil. What was that? Something like that?
I read nearly 11 million a year.
Somewhere else.
It has been the top 5 paid head coach. in the entire country.
Much
Good timing
bigger.
on Lanning getting in on this too before you're probably going to take a step back this season. If I had to guess, because Dante Moore is not Bo Nix or Dylan Gabriel, or at least I have no reason to believe that he will be up to this point. Also, finally, congratulations to all those who celebrate. What's coming up this weekend?
St.
You're a
Patty's
big
Day.
fan of it. You're big. Well, yeah, hell yeah. True. Actually, true. Very looking forward to that. You're a big fan of this, Aaron.
Oh
You're
yeah. I actually may be going if it doesn't rain on Saturday. I'm like, I got tickets. A buddy of mine offered me tickets in the little suite behind the catcher.
Oh, nice, dude.
I know, but then
Well,
it's
say you got to answer.
75% chance of rain on Saturday.
You got to answer the question for what it is. So we're talking about.
Oh, it's SEC.
SEC baseball, baby.
Yes.
Let's fucking go. 10 weeks, guys. Everybody always talks about winning a 9th SEC conference game. I want 12 SEC baseball weeks. I could have done without these last 2 weeks. It's time to get into conference play faster. But 10 weeks, 30 games in a conference in which 12 of the 16 teams are ranked. Each of the top 4 teams in the country right now are in the SEC. Florida, Tennessee, going to be an absolute banger this weekend. Who do y'all have? Kentucky?
Let's go.
For real though, bro, that's going to be a good time if you get in the suite behind.
I just don't want to take Maddox all the way there I literally just pull up the weather.com. Intense storm system coming. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But I can't wait, dude. SC baseball, such a great rhythm. That's my favorite part about it. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all that great stuff. All right. Well, we love you. Glad to be back, guys. We'll be back on Thursday. Again, if you want us to help keep this show free of corporate influence, just support us by hitting the like button, sharing it with your friends, and helping us hit 30,000 subscribers. Also,
Thursday.
What? No, hold on. I had one more announcement we needed to make. Shout out Snaps.
Your pop clock popped.
My pop clock's done. Okay, shout out Snaps Clothing. Oh, there you go. Snaps Clothing. Thank you.